Jesus said, "Man cannot live on bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." You're listening to Daily Truth.
The problem with the old covenant isn't that God failed to uphold his end of the bargain. God forbid. God has never failed in upholding his covenant. The problem is that Israel failed. But that's the example cited by the author to the Hebrews as something deficient with the old covenant that will be improved upon in the new. So what does this mean? Well, what it means is that in the new covenant, God is going to somehow construct the new covenant and its better promises in such a way that his people's faithlessness cannot break the new covenant. He establishes in this new covenant an unbreakable covenant where he not only upholds his end of the bargain, but somehow he will also ensure that his people uphold their side of the bargain as well. It will not be like the old covenant, that was a covenant that was possible for people to fail, that they were able to not continue in this covenant, but rather this will be a different covenant. A covenant that cannot be failed, certainly not by God, but even by God's people. Well, how will he do this? Verse 10 says, "For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, declares the Lord. I will put my laws into their minds." The law of God not merely written on tablets of stone, but the law of God written on the very tablets of human hearts. I will write them on their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall not teach each one his neighbor or each one his brother, saying, "Know the Lord," imploring one another to know the Lord, to pursue knowledge of the Lord. But the new covenant stipulates and promises this, that all those members of this new covenant, that they will have an innate understanding, an innate sense of God and who he is, that his laws will be written on their minds and on their hearts, and that there will be some kind of intimate knowing, some kind of intimate loving relationship between all the members of the new covenant and the God of the new covenant himself. In Israel, it was not a personal covenant. Each individual constantly had to be reminded by Moses and by the Levitical priesthood, constantly being reminded that, hey, you should care about God. Hey, you need to know God. Hey, you should pursue obedience to God. Oh, hey, here are the 10 Commandments. It seems like you forgot some of them. Here they are, written on tablets of stone. Read them, remember them. The people constantly had to be reminded, constantly had to be implored. But with the new covenant, the law of God is written on the very hearts of men. It is written and etched, ingrained in the very minds of men. And this knowledge of the Lord, that doesn't mean that everyone has perfect theology upon the moment of conversion. It doesn't mean that the moment you become a Christian, you perfectly understand all the ins and outs of the Trinity. But what it does mean is that there is a basic understanding of God, his nature, who he is, what he's done, and what he's promised to do for every Christian by the work of the Holy Spirit. That your very body, as 1 Corinthians chapter 6 says, becomes a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you. You are indwelt by the Holy Spirit. No longer a temple made by stone that you visit once a year in order to observe certain feasts and festivals and rituals and practices. No longer an external temple, but you yourselves are the very temple of the Holy Spirit, the third member of the Godhead, indwelling you and speaking to you, bearing witness that you are in fact an adopted and beloved child of God the Father. That's the difference.
Wait. Real quick, before you go, do me a favor. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell so you'll be notified with all our new content as it comes out on a daily basis. And if you're willing to support this ministry, you can do so by going to rightresponseministries.com/donate. Thanks so much. God bless.